I'm AJ Toft.
And hi, I'm Harry Masterson.
And we are the voices of Darts World Weekly podcast. But we're not just a podcast, we are a magazine as well. And we've got the latest issue out, issue 586, with all your regular columnists plying their trade and putting their words to page. But we've also got some special write-ups about the prodigies of darts.
Absolutely, there's lots of stuff in the brand new magazine. Of course, the article about the Premier Prodigies. There's also exclusives in there with Natalie Gilbert, Adam Warner as well, and obviously there's also stuff in terms of the Luke Littler winning the Premier League. Of course, there's so much stuff to get involved with, and what you're waiting for, go check out the brand new issue now.
Yes, get on the website or get where you get your favourite magazine from.
All right, cockers, it is a brand new episode of your Darts World Weekly podcast. And on this week's episode, we'll be discussing the US Darts Masters and North American Open, plus the WDF Swiss Open. We'll also be discussing Ladies Week and Darts World's new feature, Profiles. Plus, we'll be seeing what's on the open road in your area. So sit back and relax, and let Harry and AJ do the work for you.
Hello and welcome to this episode 19 of the Darts World Weekly podcast. My name is Harry Masterson.
And I am AJ Toft. And how are we doing?
I'm very good, AJ, and obviously you are again on the road. You're in a hotel, as per usual with these recordings. You're always in a hotel when it comes to recordings. Where are you this week?
I am in the Cornwall area. I can't say much more at this moment in time.
That's fair enough, but what a fantastic area to be in, and this time of the year as well. What better place?
Yes, the weather has been nice so far, but there is a week to go, so we'll see how it fares towards the latter end of the week.
Well, fingers are crossed that it stays like it is for the rest of the week for you.
And to coin Liam Gallagher, I hope it's plenty of fun in the sunshine.
I'm seeing him at the end of this month, by the way.
Oh, jealous already.
Doing his little tour at the minute, so I get to see him at the end of the month in Manchester.
Nice. So with all that said and done, there has been a few darting events over the weekend. And let's start with the PDC and the US Darts Masters and North American Open. And with these World Series events carrying on now, but the US always has to be slightly different by having two tournaments in the 3-4 day period, just to keep us on our toes on which tables to look at when and where.
Yes, indeed. Of course, it was the two tournaments. I think this has been happening now for the last 2 years in New York, the North American Darts Championships, with that place at the Ali Pali on the line. I feel that the North American players that were taking part in the US Darts Masters would have been thinking that winning that was as much of a priority as doing well in the US Darts Masters, but it was a fantastic couple of days in Madison Square Garden, and Rob Cross returning to winning ways again on the World Series.
Yes, I mean, as we briefly mentioned, Madison Square Garden, a host of various sporting events, and with me being a wrestling fan, knowing that it was the location for WrestleManias 1, 10 and 20, and it's been a host of a whole other major events for the WWE, as it is known now. And fellow wrestling fan Luke Littler got a chance of being at the WWE headquarters and got a message from their world champion Cody Rhodes.
I saw that he was with Peter Wright when he saw that message in the WWE, and I honestly don't really follow it, but I know that he had his walk-on this weekend was themed around WWE, and obviously his walk-on in general as well was down to a event in WWE that he went to in the past. So
Yes.
No, it was a
So
fantastic weekend for him.
yeah, so the Pitbull song he normally uses, that was used by WWE for WrestleMania, the one he went to. And the theme he used at the weekend is the theme of the WWE champion Cody Rhodes, who's been going through a bit of a renaissance of his career of late, winning at this year's WrestleMania against The Rock, which was bringing in all kinds of silly numbers in terms of views on YouTube and Facebook and everything else. So for Luke Littler to be in on the act, so to speak, getting that kind of messaging, and it's been both promoted by the PDC and the WWE. Even more eyes are now on darts where they may not have been because of this one person.
I completely agree. And then he had all this build up before the tournament. He goes into the tournament, and I think it was 103 averages in his first 2 matches. So again, not like the pressure's on him or anything. He's just going into each competition and just showing what he can do.
Exactly. And this is what's staggering a lot of people is, he is getting a lot of eyes on him, and he's still performing to these levels where most people under that amount of pressure may have buckled. Luke, although he didn't win the event, he lost in the semi-final, he was still performing at 103 average throughout. So his average for that tournament was about 103. And it took an exceptional last leg from Gerwyn Price to win that match. So it's not like he's not doing well, or as some people may say, bottling it. He's still performing to a massive, massive standard. And some people are saying, podcasts such as ourselves might be talking a little bit too much of Luke Littler, pardon the pun. But when he's performing like this, what else can you do?
No, and you look at the performances he had. You mentioned that Gerwyn Price game, and I think Littler was literally on a double in that final leg, and it took the 108 finish from Price that he had to take out. If he missed that dart at tops, he's probably losing that game 7-6 instead of winning it 7-6. So the fine margins were literally there to be seen. And again, I think Littler had 8 180s in that match and still lost. So it just goes to show that he didn't put a foot wrong. It's just sometimes in darts, if you take your chances, you win. And I feel that Littler had that in the Dutch Masters final earlier on in the year, and it's happened again this time in New York.
I mean, Gerwyn Price must have listened to us, where the 3 warnings in life is you don't spit in the wind, you don't tug on Superman cape, and you don't leave Luke Littler with 40 with 3 darts in his hand. He knew he had to hit it because it'd be gone.
Yeah, you literally gave him what he needed to know in one of the previous episodes. And I feel like if he had missed that double tops for the 108, it would have been Luke Littler taking on Rob Cross in the final. And the pressure was on Price on that tops, and he delivered. And again, it was a fantastic display. We've seen Price on the World Series before. He knows how to win these competitions, and it's nice to see him playing well, as after a bit like Peter Wright as well, in terms of just wanting the Premier League campaign to end and just focusing on themselves. And Rob Cross as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we brushed on, where the shackles are off now. The Premier League is now just gone into the distance, and these players now can play with a bit more freedom. They can enjoy themselves a lot more, rather than I'm saying the grind, but it is a brutal format in terms of you've got to be playing well every week, and then you throw in your Euro tours and your Pro tours, and the travel aspect is brutal on all the players. But now they can reformat themselves to the regular kind of schedule. I think they'll relax a bit more into it, and play the darts that they're more accustomed to.
Exactly. And I was also watching Luke. It was Rob Cross taking on Michael van Gerwen in the quarterfinals, and this was the week where he decided to win 6-4 against van Gerwen. Not when it was the Predictor League, when Liverpool shirt was on the line. He decided to do it when none of us had any predictions on the line. But no, it was a fantastic performance, whole performance from Rob Cross. Not just the quarterfinal against van Gerwen. He played really well in his semi-final against Luke Humphries. Humphries had a 1-3-6 finish in that game, but Cross always ahead. And then in the final, it was a complete opposite. Price was always ahead in the final, but the one time that he wasn't ahead was in the final result, and Cross took that final leg. And Again, Price did miss a big number in terms of going for the 100. He hit a 1 and you can't finish 99. And it gave Cross the opportunity
99
to come back and
problems.
take the 56. Like what he did there.
But I mean, obviously, the 7 of the Premier League 8 won through, but we've got to talk about Jeff Smith's performance in his first round match against Michael Smith. I mean, it wasn't a classic Michael Smith performance, but Jeff Smith, king of clutch finishes, in my opinion, with his cricket game in terms of the game of cricket on the dartboard, where you're hitting multiple sections in different areas at different times. He's superb at that game, and you can tell the way he goes for his outshots complements that cricket game.
We saw this last year when he reached the final again in the US Darts Masters in New York, and he had that game against Luke Humphries where Humphries missed a dart to win the game 7-5. Smith sends it to a last side decider, and I think he wins the whole semi-final with a 167 checkout on the ball. So it was always, the evidence was there last year that he has this clutch finishing in his locker, and yet again he showcased it this year against Michael Smith. And it wasn't a close game in terms of the scoreline either. It was Jeff Smith really, whenever the chance was there, he took it.
Yes, and he may have been the only one that won, but I think the performances by the Americans, I think they were playing the occasion a lot more, especially Danny Lauby in the game against Michael Van Gerwen. I mean, that wasn't the Danny Lauby that was playing on the Modus, where he was, just killing people left, right,
and at Q School as well.
Yes, and of course at Q School. And I think a good performance by Alex Spellman. He played really well. And Jules Van Dongen's unique entrance with the live music. A lot of people have been saying, the American crowd has really took on this format and this, darts in general at the MSG. And, people have been saying the World Darts Championships could be going to another venue or another country. But I think America really put themselves in a place where they could hold a major, not a World Series event, I think a major, if they were to create a new major, similar to the Las Vegas Desert Classic. I think something along them lines where, it becomes a part of the annual calendar, but in the major category rather than just this World Series of Darts.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen with the 2 tournaments prior in Madison Square Garden just how much darts is getting bigger within North America. We've seen with the Championship Darts Corporation as well, the numerous amount of players that have come through that system. Stowe Bance reaching the Grand Slam quarters. He again appeared at the US Darts Masters this weekend. Lovely 1-4-1 finish against Nathan Aspinall as well. And you look at some of the other, you mentioned Jules Van Dongen, he's always been this charismatic player when he is on the hockey, and he didn't fail to disappoint when he was in New York over the weekend. But definitely, and you've seen Leonard Gates previously as well with the senior titles. So it's just, it will continue to get bigger, and the more and more people that will follow this sport, the more and more fantastic atmospheres we're going to see in the future, like we saw this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously we had the US Darts Masters, but let's touch on to the North American Championship with Matt Campbell getting the win. And I'm a massive Jeff Smith fan, have been since his Lakeside debut way back when. He just seems to play the game properly. He's a great ambassador of the sport, one of the most friendliest people you can, meet on the circuit.
Love his nickname as well.
Yes, it's a great nickname. But is a Canadian compatriot and a former pairs partner in the World Cup, Matt Campbell. For me, it was going to be whoever won that game had the biggest opportunity to win the whole event, and Matt Campbell succeeded in that.
Yeah, it was a repeat of the final from last year. Two met in the final. It was Jeff Smith that won that, of course, and he secured his place at the Ali Pali. But this time it was Matt Campbell. It was a good performance from him in the quarterfinals. Obviously, there was a bit of controversy as well with Matt Campbell with regards to how he conducted himself in the Littler game on the Friday night. But it shows that he didn't pay attention to what was being said. He just, business as usual, went into the arena on the Saturday, got the job done, and he secures his spot at the Ali Pali for later this year.
Yes, and congratulations to Matt on that. That was the point. I don't know it. So that was the PDC aspect with the US Open and the US Darts Masters and the North American Championships. But there was tournaments also in the WDF in Switzerland. So the WDF rolls up into Switzerland for the Swiss Open and Helvetia Open, and there was some different winners for the majority of the events, with the Swiss Open going to Jimmy van Schie of Holland.
Indeed, it was a good win for Jimmy, a 98 average in the final, 5-3 against Aaron Johnson. And looking at the players that were in the quarterfinals of this Swiss Open, it was never going to be an easy tournament for any of these players to win. And obviously with Jimmy, what happened in the Denmark Open against Connor Scott, he would have been hoping to get back in terms of onto the winner's circle, and he has this weekend. It was a 4-0 win over Martin Turner in the quarterfinals for Jimmy, and then he beat Connor Scott 4-1 in the semi-finals. So bit of revenge there, and a fantastic win. And in terms of qualifying for Lakeside at the end of the year, he's done himself massive favours.
Yes, plenty of points in the bank there for Lakeside qualification. Moving on to the women's event of the Swiss Open, with the winner being Lisa Ashton, beating a name I've not seen for quite a while, Irina Armstrong.
Lovely to see the Lancashire Rose back to winning ways this weekend in the WDF, a 5-3 win in the final over Irina Armstrong. And again, it was another tough field in terms of the quarterfinals and up. And you look at Lisa Ashton in terms of who she beat in the semi-finals, Greta Takawa. And that was a name that we were mentioning a lot in terms of the Lithuania weekend. I think she did the double in terms of winning both of those events. So it wasn't an easy ride, but again, a good win for Lisa. And in terms of, like I said, with Jimmy van Schie, Lisa Ashton will want to be back at Lakeside at the end of the year. She's won there 4 times. She was there last year, and this win will definitely be a right step in that direction.
Yes, absolutely. And then moving on to the youth tournaments for the Swiss Open, a name that you will be hearing a lot, and you may have already heard a lot of, with Jensen
AJ's favourites.
Yes, one of my favourites. Jensen Walker getting the win in the Swiss Open.
Indeed, and in fact, he did. His nickname is the Interceptor, and he's intercepted both of the tournaments in the youth this weekend. A fantastic weekend for Jensen. He beat Luca Sotalo in a last leg decider 4-3, and he won the Helvetia Open as well. He beat Mark Langner in that final 4-1, and then he also won in the Swiss Open youth final 4-3. So he claimed the last leg decider on the Saturday.
Yes, a great result for Jensen getting the double, and then moving on to the women's Helvetia Open, that was won by Paul Jacklin, beating Lisa Ashton in the final there 5-2.
Indeed, Paula Jacklin denying Lisa the double herself in the women's events, and it was a good performance from Paula Jacklin as well. 2-0 down in that final. Lisa Ashton hadn't lost a game all over that weekend, so to go and win 5 legs on the spin, win that final 5-2. And again, gain some important ranking points in terms of qualifying for Lakeside at the end of the year. It's a big step, and fair play to Paula. It was a fantastic performance from her.
Yeah, with it being a double silver, so silver for the Swiss Open and silver for the Helvetia Open, there's still plenty of points there won by all the players involved in the latter stages. And finally, moving on to the men's Helvetia Open, won by Swiss player Stefan Belmont, who I know very well and had a really good Q School this year, and winning one of the Challenge Tour events earlier in the year as well. So he's still in good form, as it sees.
Yeah, he won one of I think it was the opening weekend of the Challenge Tour that Stefan Belmont was. He won in, and again this weekend a fantastic performance. I think he reached the latter stages of the Swiss Open as well, so the form was already there going into this competition, and it was 3 legs on the spin to come from behind to beat Mike Gillett of Wales 5-4 in the finals. So a very good performance from him. He beats Matthew Edgar in a last leg decider as well, 4-3 in the semi-finals, and Martin Turner 4-1 in the quarterfinals. So like Jimmy Van Schie, it wasn't an easy run for Stefan to win that competition, but he got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that's no easy three players to beat, and fellow Swiss compatriot Thomas Jungens reach in the semi-finals as well, getting beat by Matt Gillett there. But some homegrown talent doing well in their home tournament is always a good feeling. Gives it the happy ending that that the locals would want to see their local dart players playing well in their home events.
Exactly. You saw at the development tour with Nico Springer winning one of them in Germany. It was nice to see that. And then, of course, Darius Labanauskas as well at one of the most recent WDF weekends. I think he won one of the Lithuania competitions that was going on over the weekend. So, as you said, it's nice to see homegrown talent win. And this time it was Stefan Belmont.
Yes, indeed. And it's great to see what's happening with the WDF. It seems to be on the rise again, which is always good to see. I've always been an old soul enjoying the BDO darts back then with your classic John Lowe's, Bob Anderson's, Eric Bristow's, and that Lakeside stage is, for a lot of players, the true home of darts. People might have different perceptions, but for these players trying to get to the Lakeside, it's going to be, they're stepping on the same stages as their heroes back in the day, and one of them will lift that famous trophy.
Exactly, and these tournaments that are going on through the year is very important in terms of who we're going to be seeing at those competitions. We already know a few players that have qualified, but it's always good to be paying attention to what's going on within the silver ranked events, because that's where the ranking points are.
Exactly. So that's your WDF news, but moving on to the MODUS Super Series, and it was not just Ladies' Night, it was Ladies' Week. So with the MODUS Super Series culminating the week before, they had a spare week in between, and they chose a great week to have with Ladies' Week.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic week all round from the ladies. Bo Greaves obviously winning the group on the Wednesday, going through to finals night, and then more players coming into their own in the following days. Kirsty Vinnikainen, fantastic week for her.
I was really surprised with her performance. She was really good, really good.
Really good, especially on finals night. Because everyone's probably sat there going into finals night thinking it's going to be Fallon Sherrick and Bo Greaves winning the respective groups, but Kirsty's like, no, that's not happening, and I'm winning the group instead. And it, as a result of that, it forced Bo and Fallon to face off in the semi-finals instead.
Yes, and it was, as we said, a great performance by multiple players, with Darts World's own Natalie Gilbert playing really well in her try at MODUS.
Absolutely fantastic effort from Natalie. You look at the performance that she pulled out, and you look at the Friday in Group C, and Rhian O'Sullivan is going splendidly well, won all of her matches, and then she comes up against Natalie Gilbert and is whitewashed. So it just goes to show that anyone can beat anyone, and that format as well that they were playing first to three legs, it just goes to show that if you're on your game and you want to win and you show that you deserve to, chances are you probably will win.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of Natalie Gilbert, we've got a new part of the show which we will be debuting next week, which is the Darts World Profile. And here is a snippet with Natalie Gilbert, where Harry and myself ask the same 10 questions to dart players all over the darting spectrum. And we are here with Natalie. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Great stuff. So let's go with the first two questions, Natalie. What was the first set of darts you used?
I actually don't know what they were. They were a set of darts that I found in my friend's kitchen.
Right.
So the only thing I know is that there were 22 grams. Anything else, I have no idea what they were.
So then following on there, what was the first set of darts you purchased?
Oh, there were £12 in the clearance on Dart. I think I bought them from Darts Corner.
So we've got many interviews already lined up with various players and other darting professions ready for profile. But just to go back to the MODUS Super Series for the ladies, it's a real good advert for darts. I mean, obviously, you've got the women's series of the PDC, and then the WDF have been doing women's darts for quite a long time now. But you can just feel now the standard is going up more as time goes on.
Absolutely. And the most refreshing thing to see as well was the winner wasn't the winner that everyone thought was going to be the winner at the start of the week. Everyone thought, you got Bo, you've got Fallon, you think one of them two is going to win it. But no, it wasn't. It was Rhian O'Sullivan, in fact, that won the title. And
well deserved.
Well deserved. It was a fantastic performance. I was saying to you just before we started recording that in the game, Rhian lost her opening game on finals night 3-0 to Bo, so she had to go into her second game and win that. Otherwise, it was curtains, and it was against Vicky Prum. And what a way to win that game! It's 2-2. She has to win the leg, otherwise she's out. So she throws in a 10-darter, and honestly, hats off! What an effort that is to keep yourself in it.
Definitely. Congratulations there. But that was the MODUS Super Series. But we have to get our maps and compasses out now because we are heading out onto the open road. So the open road is long and vast, as there are opens all over the country. If you do have an event that you want us to promote, send an email to editor@dartsworld.com or hit us on our socials on Twitter or X and Facebook and Instagram. First event that we're going to promote here is the Darts Asylum Open, and that's at the Darts Asylum at the Browns Bar in Bristol, BS15 1RS. This is £11 entry, doors open at 10 and play starts at 11. Entries are available on the Darts Atlas website, and it is sanctioned by the ADC in the United Kingdom. Moving over to the Cambridge area, you've got the Histon and Impington Darts Comp, and that's at Histon British Legion, Saffron Road in Histon, Cambridge, CB24 9LJ. Again, £10 entry, open to all, £250 first prize, doors open at 9 o'clock, registration at 11, and Todioki is at 12 o'clock. And again, entries available via the Darts Atlas website. Moving on to the Monday, and we've got a Monday mini slam. That is at the Tea Time Golf Centre, Fleetwood Road, Blackpool, FY5 1RN. And again, this is capped at 24 players and is £6 entry. If you want to get involved, contact Stephen Parker or sign in via your Darts Atlas. Moving on to the Basingstoke area, and you've got the Academy Darts Knockout, and that is at 7:30 on Monday the 10th of June. This is limited to 48 entries, and £100 will be added to the prize pot if 32 entries are in. It is only £6 entry fee, and you can pay on the evening. Again, entries available via the Darts Atlas website, and again, also accredited and sanctioned by the ADC. And lastly, Darts returns to Chester with the first Cosmos of Chester Darts Grand Slam. This is where Riley's used to be in the Chester area for those local in the area. And again, £10 is the entry fee. Doors open at 10 o'clock, registration at 10:30, and starting at 12 o'clock. Entries again via Darts Atlas. Basically, if you want to enter any events and you want to search anything in your local area, Darts Atlas is the way to do it. And most of them have got the sanctioned by the ADC. This is where people can build up the points and from the pub to the MODUS Super Series stage.
Climb up the rankings in the system, and obviously the more entries that are in each of the competitions, the more points you'll be getting.
Exactly. So, what are you waiting for? Get entering, get playing, get enjoying yourself.
As AJ said, get entering.
So, that is all for this episode of the Darts World Weekly podcast. And remember, we will be dropping that special episode of The Profile with Darts World soon.
Keep your eyes peeled for that, because it was a fantastic interview with Natalie, and there'll be more to follow.
Excellent stuff. And that is game, shot and match for this episode. My name is AJ Emston-Toft.
And my name is Harry Masterson.
And we will see you in the next round.